Hey there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. I am kind of a lurker when it comes to 7 on Sunday. I watch a lot of the videos, but don't do any of them. And that's mostly because I'm terrible at checking them in advance and going, oh yes, I should make a video on that. This week, I have actually managed to do it on time, so I'm going to be doing a 7 on Sunday video. 7 on Sunday is a Goodreads group created by G Swizzle, where prompts are provided and, you just come up with 7 books that are related to the prompts. So today's 7 on Sunday topic is most disappointing book or series endings. So, I have a lot to say. We know I like to complain about things, and this is a video where I get to complain a lot, so yes. As we are talking about endings to books and series here, I am going to try and keep things as general as possible, and I will pre-warn you before I deliver a spoiler, so if you care about that book, then you can just not listen for a period of time. So I really hope that that helps everyone avoid spoilers for anything, and yeah, let's get going. So the first book on this list is a book that I know a lot of BookTube likes, and it's an author that really doesn't always work for me, and this is one of the books where their writing style really didn't work for me. And it's Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Yeah. So a lot of people love this book and a lot of people really like how it's written. I found it a bit boring, and I had specific problems with the ending of this. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that I watched the film as a child. I don't know when the film came out. I feel like I was still a child, probably. But the film was so much more interesting than the book, and I also think the ending was way better. It was a good ending. I liked the ending of the film. The ending of the book was not a good ending. I did not appreciate it. It just felt so anticlimactic, and I was like, alright then. I'll give a short spoiler about this because it really annoyed me. The spoiler will be above my head when it is gone. You can listen again. Okay. So, the fact that when the witch finally makes it to the wall, and she's done all of these things, and the star is at the wall, and they meet, and you think, oh, the witch is going to do something bad. The witch just says, oh, I see, you've given your heart away to someone else. Guess I can't take that then, see you, bye! What? No. That's nonsense. Excuse me, no, that is utter... I credit that as one of the reasons that I really don't like Neil Gaiman's writing. I've liked one book that he's written out of 3 that I've read, and I haven't tried any of the adult ones yet because I'm kind of put off by the fact that that happened. So the next book on this list is One Way by S.J. Morden. I did this as a buddy read with Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book, and we thought we were going to enjoy it. It was a lot more scientific than we thought it was going to be. Essentially, it's about a mission to Mars where people are trying to colonize Mars, and they use prisoners, ex-convicts, to do it, because it's kind of a one-way trip. It's like a death sentence, essentially, but you're working and you're on Mars, so that's pretty cool. So there was a lot of training in it, and then when they finally got to Mars, I thought something interesting was going to happen, and we found that it was just really disappointing, because the thing that you thought was going to happen, happened. And I didn't want it to be predictable. It was like the most obvious thing that you could think would happen, happened. I wasn't shocked. I was, disappointed. And I know there's a sequel to this book, and I just don't care, so never gonna read that. Now, the next book on this list is also a thriller, and it is 55 by James Delargy. This book annoyed me all the way through it because some of the characters are just assholes. For no reason. Like, why are you being a dick? Why are you acting like that? Nobody acts like that. Be a policeman. Be professional. No? Okay, right, whatever then. And then, the end, the very end of this book. Oh, God, it was just... One of the big problems that I have with some endings to books is when they don't end. Like, when you have a situation where it doesn't actually confirm to you whether something happens or doesn't happen, I feel like very frustrated by that, especially in the case of this book and another book on this list, which we'll talk about later. But oh my god, this book. I can't tell you what happened without spoiling it. I will do a spoilery bit here now. You're not missing anything at all worthwhile if you miss this one, so sorry. The spoiler is that at the end of the book, the detective main character's kids get kidnapped, and then the serial killer gets murdered, and they're just left in the Australian desert for like a week, and they die, I think. I don't know. That's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's the fact that it's like, oh yeah, 10 days later we found these huts where these kids might have been kept. Oh yeah. And then it's like, and then he walked towards the hut, and then you never find out! Why don't you find out? I just want concrete information. I just want to know. But we're never gonna know. But like, the kids were obviously dead though, right? Because 10 days. Australia. So the fourth book on this list is Wildcard by Marie Lu. I was extremely disappointed in this book, mostly because I really loved the first book. And I really liked the VR aspect of it. I really liked sort of everything in it. Just the way that it all went down was fun for me. And this book was not fun for me. I just feel like it abandoned all of the VR fun that the other one had. It was a competition book. This one was like, oh yeah, it turns out this person was a bad guy and infiltrate some places. I don't know. It was boring. I have forgotten this book. I honestly always recommend people to read Warcross and then just stop there and pretend this one never happened. I just really didn't enjoy it very much, and it took a U-turn in terms of where the series was going for me, and I just didn't like it. So that's why this is on this list. The next book on this list is probably quite a surprising one for a number of people, mostly because you actually haven't heard me talk about this book yet. And it's A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Camera. I wanted to like this book so much. I did this one as a buddy read with Mel from A Book Fiend named Mel, and we both had very similar feelings about this book. It's not that this book was bad. It wasn't a bad book. It was disappointing though. We're talking about dissatisfying books, and I really felt like this was dissatisfying. So this series is a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a bit of a twist, and the main female character in it has cerebral palsy. And it's really interesting. A Curse So Dark and Lonely, I still rate that as a great book. I enjoyed A Heart So Fierce and Broken for different reasons. They felt like completely different books to me. And I just felt like the book where it all came together was just really dissatisfying. I think part of it is to do with the fact that I really love Harper as a character. I thought she was a really strong character in the first book. And then by the time you get to this book, I'm like, oh, who dat? I didn't like how criminally underused the female characters in this book are. You could have had some really kick-ass people, but no, we're focusing on the men. And I like Grey. Don't get me wrong, I really like Grey. And Ren's okay. But I just feel like there's such wasted potential there. You had so many cool characters, and it was like, oh right, okay. Also, I have another gripe, which is a spoilery thing. So, you know, spoiler. The villain is just not good enough for 3 books. She's not. I'm sorry, she's not. I think Lilith worked in the first book, but then stretching her out over 3 books, it just didn't work. Her motivation was as flimsy as a piece of wet paper, and she was just no match for anyone. She was just rubbish. What was the point of her? It's like when you're playing a video game and you finally find the first boss and you're like, oh, okay, I will beat this boss and it will ease me into the game, and then I can take on the bigger bosses later. And then you get to the end of the game and it turns out that the big bad at the end is just the first boss, and they haven't gotten stronger, they're just the same. What's the point? I don't know. Also, unnecessary pregnancy never needs to happen. Can we just stop? Like, what did that add to the story? Nothing. It added nothing. So that's my spoilery thoughts over with. I did actually like this book, I just didn't like it as much as I could have done. I feel like there was a lot of wasted potential and it was just dissatisfying. The next book on this list is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is a book that I actually really started off liking. It is body horror set in a girls' school where they've sort of been infected by this weird thing and it's mutilating them, and they're on an island, so they're isolated, and just stuff happens, and it's kind of creepy and it's kind of cool, and then the end happens and I just lowered that star rating right down because it did the thing where it just ended. It just ended. What happened to the people? Who knows? I don't know, because it just ended. Like, why is that a thing that we do with books? I am so dissatisfied by that writing choice. Like, it's a bad choice. Honestly, if I read that in a book, I just get so mad about it, and then I think about it for days, and I stew on it, and I did that with this one, and I even lowered the star rating down even further a couple of days after I thought about it, because I was like, fuck that. That was really annoying, and I don't appreciate it, so unsatisfied. And the last book on this list should probably come to no surprise to anybody that saw me reading this series. I was doing it as a buddy read with Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book, and it is The Fate of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. Yes, this book, wow. I am still mad about this one. So mad. I can't. This one has to just be spoilers. I'm sorry, because the thing that made me so mad about it is a huge spoiler for the end. So I can't really talk about why this one is so unsatisfying without revealing exactly what happens in it and its kind of relation to the rest of the story. So I'm sorry, this is gonna have to be spoilery. Well. This book made me so angry, and that is because by the time you get to the end of the book, the main character figures out that she can sort of time travel back to the early settlers of her land and defeat the big bad in that timeline. So she does that, and then the world changes because, you know, butterfly effect, change one thing in the past and everything changes. And the world is completely different, and she lives in an advanced society now. She's not the queen, she's just a random woman that works in a library. None of her relations are the same. She doesn't know any of her friends. They've never met her before. They're like living different lives. None of it ever happened. None of it ever happened. Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? That should never exist in literature ever. And I feel like people who do that should get in the bin, because literally the only reason I keep this book is so that I can wave it around and say, sin! Bad times! Why have you done this? This is terrible, terrible choices. I hate it so much. I'm like super mad about it still. And let's not do that with any series ever, please. So that's it for this 7 on Sunday video. I am really glad that I got to take part in this one. I really like moaning about stuff, so, you know, that's a good time for me. I don't know if you're still here, then it's a good time for you too, I guess. But if you are still here and you don't have anything else to say, please leave me an angry face emoji, because this face angry a lot of the time in this video, so join me. And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!